Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're talking about the strategy design pattern which we will use in an Angular project.
At first, let's have a look what the strategy pattern is all about.
I've already created a fresh Angular project here and we will directly jump into the strategy design pattern. If you don't know already, there's a cool site which is called the Refactoring Guru, which tries to describe all the different or a lot of different design patterns, and they try to do it by real world analogies, which is pretty cool, I think, and it's much easier to understand the different problems. Well, what we're going to do is that we are implementing different sort algorithms today, which is pretty much a very common example to describe the pattern, and we'll do it in Angular, as I already said. Well, for this, we're going to implement the bubble sort and a quick sort algorithm, which is a concrete strategy. So it's one of these here, and all these concrete strategies, which are services in our case, will implement a common interface, which we just call sort strategy. And well, this sort strategy is then used in a component, so we can just call sort and we don't have to care about the implementation. And yeah, when we have a look at the first sentence, which says that, well, strategy is type of a behavioral design pattern, which you can see here as well, with creational and structural design patterns, which are other categories. And well, it let us define a family of algorithms, in our case, different kind of sort algorithms, and put each of them into a separate class and make their object interchangeable.
We start with a cleanup of our newly created Angular project and with some preparations.
Let's go back to the IDE. The first thing is that we're going to remove all the stuff here which we don't need, and therefore we delete this thing here. The first step is that we want to create just a new module. For this we use the Angular CLI. I'm on WebStorm here. And we just call this sort module. So we'll generate a new module here, sort module, which we have to import. Sort module. And yes. We could probably install Prettier, because I really like Prettier. Makes that a little bit easier to write readable code. So as it's installing, we create some kind of different folders. Of course, we have components within our module. So we create a module components folder, and we have different kind of strategies in our module as well. Furthermore, we need, of course, models, because we have to sort something. Well, and inside these models, we create a new file, which is a TypeScript file, and we just say, okay, it's a person, so it's person.ts, and we create a new interface, which is person, and this person has just a name, which is type of string, and with a salary, which is a number. Okay, and the second thing is that we just make a copy of this here. We create another file, which is a mock of the person. So, and we just want to export persons which are unsorted. So it's called unsorted persons. And okay, so remove this here. Well, our Copilot already makes some suggestions, but I've already prepared some unsorted persons for us, which we can just reuse, which makes it a little bit faster here. So we just have the name and different kind of salary. So like the Richie Rich is probably the guy with the highest salary, And yeah, but it's completely unsorted, and we want to sort this list in our example.
Let's start with the implementation of the different strategies of the strategy pattern.
The next step is that we have to create services for our strategy implementations. And so we're going to the folder strategies, just create a new service, which we call bubble sort. And we make another service, which we call quick service, which we will call quick sort. Okay, so what we are going to do is we just remove the spec file, as we don't want to test them today, but normally, of course, you should write tests for this. Yeah, so the next step is that we're going to write an interface, which is our strategy. So we call the interface sort strategy.tx, and just export a new interface, which is called interface sort strategy, and this interface just can sort some kind of persons at the moment. So just can say persons here, and it should return a person as well. Of course, we have to import this thing. As we already installed Prettier, we can make it like a little bit nicer here. Okay, so we have created sort strategy, and we have the two services here. The first thing is that we want to implement this sort strategy in our service. I don't know why it's not arguing. Oh no, I was just wondering why it's not arguing that we did not implement it and import it. Okay, so the next step is that we want to, we have to create this method here, which comes from the interface. And of course, we have to import the person as well. And we do the same thing in the other class. Just implement the sort strategy, import that, and implement all necessary members here. Okay. Well, the next step is that we have to create the sort algorithm itself. As this is not a video about sorting things, I already prepared the sort algorithms for us. And where we're going, I just will copy it into the service. So it's quick sort, for example. Quick sort is just has two functions here, which are partition function and the quick sort function, and we're just going to use the quick sort, which okay, and to do so, we just call the quick sort here, and we have to insert an array. And what we are going to do is that we want to copy the array. So we just create a new array out of it. So let's create a new array and copy the old array into it. And we're going to do the same thing in the bubble sort. I've prepared the bubble sort as well. Just copy it. And we're doing the same in the bubble sort. Bubble sort, and make a copy of persons. So our GitHub Copilot is already doing a great job here, so we don't have to care about this rewriting the code again and again and again. And yeah, just make it a little bit prettier here, so everything is fine here again. Okay, so what we've created so far is that we have a strategy and we have two services which implement this strategy.
The next step is to consume the strategies we just created with the client.
So the next step is that we need to consume the strategy. And to do so, we're going to create a component which will just consume, or which gets this strategy as an input because we want to be more flexible. So we're going to create a new component here. And we just call the component sort. It's our sort component. It's easy as that. And we're going to delete the spec file. So, okay. Well, within this component, we just want to demonstrate how the unsorted list and the sorted list in the HTML, and we don't want to care about the implementation. So we don't want to care if it's a quicksort or it's some kind of another sort algorithm. So we just want to use it. We don't want to care about it. And to do so, the first thing is that we need an input which is the sort algorithm. So, but as we don't want to care about a specific sort algorithm, we just say, okay, well, this is a sort service, which is of the type sort strategy. Yeah. And that's it pretty much. So, and when we do this, well, it will argue that we're not initializing it in the constructor, therefore we have to add the undefined to the property, which is okay for us. And furthermore, we need, of course, a list which is probably unsorted. And so we just call it unsorted, which is a list of persons, or undefined. And we want to make another list which is just sorted. Okay. And for later, we will create another input, which is we just call title, which is a type of string, because we want to separate between different kind of algorithms and to make it more clear at which we are currently. Okay. So the next thing is that we have to call the sort method on our service. And to do so, we just say, okay, we wanted it our sorted property, and we initialize this with the sort service, and the sort service had the method sort, of course, and we just insert unsorted here. Well, it's pretty fine so far. Of course, our compiler is arguing that unsorted is probably undefined, and therefore we have to handle this. Okay, and we say, well, if it's undefined, then we just say we don't care. And the same thing here, and so we can get rid of this question mark, which is bad style anyway. So pretty fine so far.
Let's create the HTML view to see the results in our browser.
And so let's go over here. And what we are going to do is that we're going to have our title here to know if we are using the bubble sort or a quicksort algorithm. So if the title is defined, as it's probably undefined, we just use ngIf here. We just want to render title. And the next step is that we're making a div, and inside this div, we just print the unsorted list. And furthermore, we are going to have an unordered list here, but just copy this in. This is an unordered list where we just say, okay, go through all unsorted items and then print the item with the salary and the name. Well, I took the salary in the beginning because it makes more clear if the order is correct or not. And furthermore, we're going to copy this here and just make another list where we say, okay, it's sorted. And of course, we have to call sorted here. And the rest is the same. So now let's go into the terminal and hope that everything works. Let's call start here. Oh, start. Oh, it's hard today.
To finalize our example, we have to integrate the whole example into the app component.
Okay, while this was compiled, I remembered that we forgot to use the component we just created, and therefore let's go back to the app component. And here we have to include, of course, the component we just created. And the component has different inputs, so we have the title. Let's call this quick sort here. And furthermore, we have like the unsorted list, which we don't have yet. And with the sort service, which we don't have yet either. But this will have the name, quick sort service, which is okay. And here we will have the name unsorted list. And it's pretty good so far. And we can just copy this and rename this to bubble sort. And this here as well. Sort. Okay, so the thing is that we have to go into the app component and we're creating a constructor here. And here we are going to inject our two different services. So we have the bubble sort service, bubble service, and we have the quick sort service, which is quick sort service. And we're going to import this and remove this bracket here. Okay, and another thing is that we need an unsorted list. Unsorted persons. Unsorted persons. And we call it unsorted. Okay, we have to rename it anyway. Okay, so I think it's pretty fun so far. Let's recompile it.
Let's have a look to the final outcome in our browser.
And we're going to our localhost here. And when it's done, we see the following. Well, it looks pretty good so far. Here in the upper, we have the quick sort algorithm, and we have two lists, the unsorted and the sorted. When we have a look here at unsorted, it looks unsorted. And when we have a look at sorted, well, it looks sorted, more sorted. But both algorithm have the opportunity to start the highest amount is at the end. But well, the question is, does this make sense for us? Because I want to know who is the richest guy in the world and not who is the poorest. So we have to change something here. And now it gets pretty cool in my opinion, because we don't have to change anything in the implementation. We just have to change something here. So we have this sorted here, and we are calling the sort algorithm. And as the result here is an array, we just can call reverse. And that's pretty much it. And then we reverse this. And as we can see here in the sorted, so in the result, the whole array is reversed. And we don't had to change anything in our strategies here. So everything is working pretty fine. And of course, if you want to add another service for sorting, for example, you just have to make a new strategy here. and everything is okay. So it's very easy to enhance these sort algorithms. Well, this was everything about how to make the strategy or how to use the strategy pattern in an Angular application. I think it's pretty easy. It's easy to understand and it's very, very useful, and it should be used more often, in my opinion.
You want to improve your programming skills? Then subscribe to the channel and click the bell.